Almost Shabbat Shalom. Almost Shabbat Shalom. This is Tibetan Ball. This is the frequency of our crown chakra. Our crown chakra, where we connect, where we are able to detach from our physical presence, where we're able to connect and to receive messages and to receive understandings about where we are and what is good for us, and what is good for us on the global level, not based on our desires. Almost Shabbat Shalom. I'm iLan Azoulai. Welcome. You are here. Wow. If you have headphones, put them on. Shabbat Shalom, Hodaya. Hello, Julie. Well, those sessions are available in greater length and more detailed application. We can talk about it. Just send me a line. For you who are joining and who will be watching this for the first time, I'm iLan Azoulai. I'm a spiritual mentor. I'm a sound therapist, bioacoustics and engineer, working with our voice and our voice imprint and the words that we're talking, the words that we're saying, the words that we're uttering, to help us map our experiences and bring our gifts to the world. So we'll come to this at the end later. Hello everyone. So many things. We are now in Tu B'Shvat was yesterday. Tu B'Shvat is the 15th of the month of Shvat, and that is the New Year's for the trees. New Year for the trees, right? We look outside. At least here in LA, it's still it's kind of winter. It's cold. It's windy. It's raining. And there is a notion. Trees are they waking up? They're starting to kind of wake up. And what is happening, and that's just even talking about in the Mishnah, is that this is the time where the sap of the tree is starting to come up. The sap of the tree starting to come up. So the trees are sensing that summer is here. So the sap of the tree is coming out, and that is on the story level. Rosh Hashanah Ilanot. Ilan, like my name, it's spelled the same way, means a tall tree. And so the story is, and growing up with that, is that every time during this time we would eat from all the fruits or whatever dry fruits and possible fruits of different trees we eat, and we commemorate the trees and we commemorate the growth of the trees. And that's on the story level. That is on the physical level, on how we're implementing celebration. We're celebrating. But the sages of Kabbalah really are talking about, they're saying, Rosh Hashanah Ilan. They're talking to it in a singular, they're referring to the holiday in a singular form, to the Ilan. referring that this is the tree of life. iLan is 91 in numerology and gematria, and that equals to the name of the divine, and it is referred to the tree of life. And how are we compared to trees? And this is the time where there is a famous Israeli song, Ki האדם עץ השדה כמו העץ. Right? So like I'm telling you, right? Like you understand Hebrew, right? So man is like the tree of the field. And there is so much teaching. There's so many teachings about how are we compared to the tree and the field. And let's stop. And this is what I want to talk about. I want to talk about our environment. The environment, because the environment is what really allowing the tree to grow. And if we are a tree, then the environment that we are inhabiting, the environment that we are surrounding ourselves with, is what is going to infuse these qualities of that environment, of that society, of the people that are around us. They're going to be infused in our growth. It's like infusing energy in water. If you want to infuse energy in water, you have to do something very simple. Put water in a jar, in a glass pitcher, close it, and leave it in the sun. Leave it in the sun for a couple hours. The sun will infuse the energy into the water. And you can take it out and wait until the water cools down, so you don't have to drink water, the hot water, and then you're drinking infused water. So it is the same thing when we are surrounding ourselves with whoever we're surrounding ourselves. That's infused in our growth. That infused in our expansion. It is known that when we are in a certain environment with certain people that eat certain kind of foods, or practice certain kind of ceremonies or whatnot, we are going to be slowly assimilated. It's a hard job not to be assimilated. It's like remember in the story where Jacob went to Haran. He left Beersheba, not in this parasha, not in this portion of the week, but in earlier portions. And it was very hard for him. It was a challenge. And this brings into all these challenges that are coming, and everything that I speak about. First of all, I want a disclaimer to myself. Everything that I share with you, everything that comes to me as I speak with you, as I speak it to myself as well, if not first to myself, because it comes to me first. So I embrace that, and I welcome that, and I thank God for that, and grateful for that. So what do we infuse ourselves with? What environment we are inhabiting within ourselves? There is a sentence that the sages are talking about. Don't go to a place where the conclusion of the sentence is, don't sit where certain people sat. Don't sit where leitzim. Leitzim are not are kind of a variation of clowns, meaning people that are making fun and not taking serious things of serious matters, that are just don't have substance to them, and they are just making things fun. So don't sit in a place where they sat, literally, in a chair, because a chair, a table, anything physical has energy, and it contains the energy that we bring into. Think about when you walk into a room. Sometimes you walk into a room and you feel really good about the room that you're in, or at, in, and sometimes you go into a room and you just can't stand that. You can't stand being in that place. And that is the energy. That is the energy that is contained within that place. But behind that sentence is, if I go to a place where I know that it's not good for me, most likely I will stand with the people there. Most likely I'll end up sitting there. So it will become a part of my growth, part of my experience, and then my experience is going to be infused with whatever I am bringing in, with whatever I allow in. So how is the tree growing? The tree, if I take care of the tree, if I nurture the tree, if I give the tree an environment that is nurturing, that is supportive, the tree will grow right. Ki האדם עץ השדה. Now, two things the tree needs. The tree needs warmth and sun. And because if we look at the tree in the winter, it looks like the tree is really dead, but the tree is not dead, right? It's hibernating. And so the two things that the tree needs is warmth and heat. So the heat comes from the sun. And the warmth comes from the environment it's nurturing it. This is the same thing with the human being. There are two aspects that we can grow through. And this is also talking, King Solomon is talking about that. And I want to quote it right. King Solomon, he says, it's better to let others praise you rather than yourself. Yahalelcha zar velo picha. So if I praise myself, it looks like I'm, it's not a humble thing, right? Praising myself and so forth. It's better that other people will do that. But many times what happens is that other people have their own issues, have their own life struggles, have their own life challenges. And so, you can't count on people to make you happy, right? You can't count on people to raise you up. So what does it mean to talk to yourself and to make yourself and to compliment yourself and to talk to yourself and praise yourself? And this sentence, Yahalelcha zar, you can put a comma after Yahalelcha zar, not your mouth. Let the other praise you, comma, not you, or let the other praise you, and if not, comma, you do that. And this is a self-nourishing, a self-sustaining environment. This is talking about us. There are two things that that are in our. There are a few things that are in our control and few things that are not in our control. Everything is in faith. Everything is happening. Everything is here by the universe, by God, except for the awness that we have to the creation, the awe that we have to God, the awe that we have to the creation, the Creator. So you don't have control on your looks. You don't have control on your height. You come the way that you come. You have the paths that you have, that you are given. It is our choice which path we're going to take, but whatever path we're taking is already predetermined. But what is not in our in God's control? Our awareness of God. And this is coming down into this week parasha, in Parashat Beshalach. So God is taking, this is the Exodus. This is coming out of Egypt and the crossing of the Red Sea. And what God is doing is really taking the Israelites, is taking them through the long way. He's taking them the long way instead of taking them straight. They're just like around, so they don't have to be affected. They don't see war, so they will not have any fear in them, and will doubt what is happening for them, and then will want to return. And so he gives them the hard way. But you're saying, wait, if you're God, right, and you're Almighty, why are you not just take the fear away from them? Let them go through this land, and let them fight and win and go to the land of Israel, right? This is where the sentence of Akol b'idei shamayim chutz mi'irat shamayim. Everything is in the hands of God, and everything is happening for a reason and for the good of our journey, except for the awness, for the awe of us towards God and the Creator. And the sages are talking about that if he would allow them, if he would take their fear away, then it is really, there is no really a choice. There is no really a choice of, do I feel fear or do I overcome my fear? I mean, imagine that. If we look at somebody who is blessing all the time when they eat and they drink, God will, their mouth will not open until they actually make a blessing, right? So I want to eat something. No, the mouth won't open until you do a blessing. So there is no really an understanding of what the creation is here for me, is here to do for me. So there is, so God says, no, I'm not going to put them through there. I'm not going to take their fear away, but I'm going to let them go through the long way, so they don't have to even, have to face that. So they don't even question themselves. And how many times are we going through situations where we are questioning ourselves? Where we are questioning ourselves in our environment, what environment we are inhabiting, what environment within us we are inhabiting. How many times do we question if what we're doing is the right, and what is the barometer that we are basing this upon? And I'd say many times the barometer that we are basing this upon is based on where we are, based on the environment, based on the reality that we are inhabiting at this particular moment. There is a sentence in Hebrew that says, "Sof ma'aseh b'machshava tchila." Every action, the end of an action always starts with a thought, right? So a thought is creating our intentions, and is creating and then we utter the utterances, and we say our words, and we create the reality. But there is there is a Kabbalistic perspective that is talking about machshava tchila besof maaseh, meaning that the beginning of wait, did I get it right? Yes, did I get it right? Yeah, תחילת מחשבה, I got it right. I just said the other words wrong. תחילת מחשבה בסוף מעשה, meaning the beginning of a thought is at the end of an action. So it is always like a loop, right? So we say it first, the beginning of, the end of an action is at the beginning of a thought, meaning so there is a thought, and then there is their action, meaning there is a thought, and then there is a reality. So there is a thought and the reality, but actually, let's do it the other way around. At the beginning of a reality, ends with a thought. Many times we're in a place where we're saying, you know what, when I feel this, I will do it. Once I feel good with myself, then I'll get up and I'll create this reality. I want to give you a personal example. I have a tea line that is called high tea. This is for a higher state of consciousness. It's a body presence, the crown chakra activation. It's from plants and herbs that I put together. I started this about 6-7 years ago. I was in Boston. And I remember that I knew what needed to be done. I knew what I need to do. And I was contemplating, I was debating. I was really in a dark place. I was in a shadowy place. But before I knew that the shadow is an integrated part of myself, I was still in a state of a separation. And I said to myself, I said, you know what? Well, one side of me said, "Oh, come on, iLan. There is nothing to do. Don't worry about that. I mean, who are you going to sell your tea? Who wants your tea anyway? You know, you are some guy sitting in Boston. You're in this situation. Who's going to do that? Wait until you know somebody. Wait until you talk about this, and then maybe you bring it forward, and then you make a storefront and so forth. And all these things. Say, wait for it. The other side of myself said, come on, create that tool, create that environment that will give God and will give the universe an opportunity to give you the abundance, because the abundance is endless. Abundance is endless. It's all around us. It is not the problem of God or the creation or the universe that we don't receive what we are deserved. What we are here to receive in order for us to move through our journey. It is the filters and it is the layers that we put on ourselves that are blocking from us to see what it is. It's like I'm standing behind a tree and I don't see what's exactly behind the tree. It doesn't mean that which is behind the tree is not there. It's just I don't see that because I'm standing behind the tree. So, and it was back and forth. Create this, don't create it. Create a tea and make it, and give the universe and God the opportunity to give an abundance. And the other side said, no, come on. I was very depressed. I was like in a lot of places like this. But I got up and I And I did. I said, you know what, ilan, what do you have to lose? Just create a bag. Just do a bag. And at that time, the teas were in bags. Now they're in jars. And I remember I put the sticker on the bag. I put the last sticker. I sealed the bag. I put all the tea inside. I put the sticker in the bag. And within a minute, I received a text from a woman in California, which I've done ceremonies for before. And she asked 20 bags for her women's circle. 20 bags of this wonderful tea that you gave me, and I finished it, and I couldn't find your number, and now I found it, and I want 20 bags, please. It was within a minute. So, and then things like these start happening on the fly, because what happened here is that an action, right? So we're saying the thought is creating a reality. But the reality is also creating a thought, because if we're in the same thought all the time, we're in the same thought pattern, we are in a place of questioning ourselves, we're in a place of doubt, then the reality that we are creating is going to support this thought, because I'm in that vibration, I'm in that frequency. It's a frequency. I had a ball. This is a frequency. It's all a frequency. Everything is a frequency. Everything is energy. So if I'm in that place inside me, I'm going to attract like a TV channel. If I have 20 channels on my TV and I'm broadcasting sports, movies, food channel, who am I going to attract? Those who wants to watch food channel and sports and movies, not news, for example, right? So it's the same thing. So the thought is creating the reality, but many times it is when we find ourselves in the procrastination mode, it is like almost crucial that we break the cycle, and we break the cycle especially with things that we don't want to do, especially that anything that is an action that will create a movement, kind of a jolt to our current system, to get up and to just do something, and to do something. And when we're doing something that is different, how many times I remember many times where I was invited to certain places and I really didn't feel like going. I really did not feel like going. I didn't feel like going and mingling or whatever, and all these kind of things, or whatever that was, pre-corona era, right? And many times, those times where where I pushed myself to go, or where other friends pushed me to go, were the best times, because out of these situations, new situations arose. Because I did something that will create a different path. It's like taking your finger and putting it in the sand. You're creating a different path. And if I put water down this little path that I created in the sand, I want to divert the water, or create another path, so the water will be diverted to the other direction. And this is the environment. This is the environment I'm talking about. So I'm encouraging every one of us, me, you, us, to look at the environment that we're in. This also, ouch. This also goes into what is happening in the world with the corona, masks, I don't want to call it immunizations, shots, all these kind of things, is to operate ourselves in critical mode, in critical thinking. We're so used to be told what to think. We're so used to be given this, oh, don't worry, everything is okay, go shopping. Feeding us with stuff to numb us. So the environment that we are inhabiting is the environment that we are creating, and that the environment that we are creating is affecting our thoughts and affecting the way that now it's going back into a cycle. So the action create the new reality. I made a different action that created a different thought. That thought will feed into a new reality that I want to do, just like with the teas that I shared with you. Once I close that bag of tea, and I received that text within a minute, it fused me up. It just flared me up. It just gave me a whole different, this whole week was a whole different existence, with music, with the editing that I was doing, everything that I was doing. Because that action that was different than what I would usually do created a new thought pattern, like paved a new way, funneled my thoughts into a different direction. And so ki האדם עץ השדה, because the man is a person, is like the tree of the field. How are we surrounding ourselves? How are we feeding ourselves? What are we allowing ourselves to enter our consciousness, our language, and even our awareness? This is the feeling. The awareness is our feeling. So what are we allowing ourselves to be surrounded with? And that which we are allowing ourselves to be surrounded with is going to affect how we're going to do the next step. So yes, it is the thought that is creating the reality. Yes, it is the thought. Of course, it's not only the thought, but the action of doing that reality. And it is a different action than what we are always doing that will create a new string of thoughts. And this is grand. It's good for every day, of course. It's not only for Tu B'Shvat, for today, for the holiday of the trees, but it's good for every day. And when we see that we are not in a good environment, it is to remember that we were put here. We were given this box of crayons to create our reality. No one has the same box that we have. No one has the same possibilities. Everyone has their own single, unique possibilities and gifts that are here to create their reality for their journey, for our journey. Each one of us has the tikkun that we're coming to do here, to work on our neshama, on our soul level, to reinvent it. Maybe somebody has to reinvent themselves. Somebody has to go through sorrow. Somebody has to go through pain. Somebody is receiving a lot of abundance. These are the choices that we made before we even got here to see what it is that we need to elevate ourselves. And so with this, I want to make sure. Yeah, this סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. Yeah, this is exactly it. I was looking at the notes. No, everything, we got it. Yes. So critical thinking is very important. Critical thinking about what's happening, about all this Quranic era, about what we're being told, how we're being told, all these vaccines. I personally believe that everything that was created, the corona, the strain, the mutation of it, the 5G implementation, which I believe was the release of the corona was premature, but it's also not only I believe that, or some other people that I interviewed in a different radio program believe that this was released earlier than what it was supposed to be. But all this, the 5G, the corona, is all orchestrated so we will be forced to get this shot, this vaccine. I mean, there's read things. I'm not going to go into any discussions about what's in it, what's not in it. There are different metals, there are different things in it. But I encourage you to just look and read before you just sign off your own consciousness. This is our preservation of our own consciousness, of our own thought. No one from above the government wants a mass of people that can critically think. Because if we can critically think, we can discover the truth, right? And the truth will set us free. But this is not what we are being told, and this is not what we're being fed. We actually they want to keep us in isolation. When I say they, I'm talking about the 0.5 of the percentage that is up there. So it is critically thinking for you, for us, for everyone. What environment we are bringing in? Are we staying in fear environment, in a scarcity environment? Everything is fearful. Remember, there are many realities. Realities are endless. You know, the pictures that when I show you a picture of a shoe, for example, I saw this week. Some people will see pink and white, and some other people will see green and black or gray. Everything that we see through our eyes happens only in our perception, happens only through our perception, in our head. So critically thinking of who is around us, who are we surrounding ourselves with, this is our nurturing environment. Tu B'Shvat, this is the holiday of the trees, and we are like the tree. Sunday is going to be Spiritual Yada, the last season finale of the Spiritual Yada that I'm hosting with Penelope, Jean Hayes, and that's at 3 p.m. So with that, I send you blessings. Think, feel where you are. Who is inhabiting your environment? Who are you bringing into your close circle? Who are you feeding from? And what you bring in is also what you get out. So Shabbat Shalom. This is, again, the crown chakra ball. There are a few frequencies that are coming through with Tibetan balls. There are 2 frequencies that are coming as I strike the ball, and then there are overtones that are hitting different kind of frequencies and harmonies that are affecting different parts of our body. Shabbat Shalom, and I will see you soon.